So, what's going on in the world right now that I have on my mind that I really just want to kind of address right now? Um, so, the thing is, everything that's going on, you're never really going to know how to even address it or how to begin to address it unless you get beyond the sensory world, and what we even think is real is just basically a facade. 99% of what we think is going on is not even actually going on. But there is a vibration, there is a wavelength. And right now, with the current aggression that's going on and all the tricks that are being pulled in the world stage that's being set up, you're not going to you're not even going to begin to know how to talk about it the right way unless you do come at it from an interdimensional approach. So, the thing is, those who experience things beyond this whole sensory, material, atomic, and molecular building blocks realm that we call the real world, the funny thing is, I don't even know that it's funny, but the thing is, it's another saturated market. Yeah, there's always been a place. There's always been a place for artists and really out there, unique weirdos with a different, strange take on things who can just seem outlandish to us, but you get deeper and deeper under what they're talking about that just seems outside of known space and time, or really outside of linear thought patterns. And there is a whole substratum, there's a whole set of layers and metaphysical, meta layers underneath what seems to at first not make sense. There are still people alive who speak in poetry. Your natural medicine people, your innately gifted shamans, as it were. Almost very often, we tend to either call them just spiritual nut jobs. Sometimes we label them as quote unquote witchy people, witchy types. Uh, People who, in general, still to this day, can easily end up being attacked. And just for no reason labeled the wrong way. Um, just basically to go along with an agenda, they'll get labeled, and part of that agenda has killed their soul and their spirit and what they do artistically, because what's happening is they start to, it's funny, for me to get at this point, I got to bring up the fact that I've been working on search engine optimization, and almost in a way what we're doing to these natural, like, shamanic types, the natural born alchemist, or the natural born earth healer, or energy worker, light worker, just that list goes on and on and on. Holistic woo-woo person, but who actually makes it work. They are experiencing a saturated market, and along with the saturated market of those who want to look that way to cash in, tap in on that trade very not authentically, is those people are updating what they can do and who they are And they're updating what they can do and who they are with just trying to fit in with the formulas of what's trending and what combinations. The new magic is trending itself, which was never meant to be the case. It never should have been the case. Uh, there's an old album I used to listen to called Irony is a Dead Scene. If you break that down, irony is a dead scene. Like, think about that for a minute. Irony actually is a dead scene. So, the thing is, what's going on right now? Stop. Well, unfortunately, not many have the magic combo of brains, balls, and heart. It takes those three dimensions to really get into what's going on interdimensionally: brains, balls, and heart. And just these days, you're not going to see that too much. The reasons being is because you will see people who are stuck in a sensory news, a sensory science, a materialistic science only, and now a trends based metadata spirituality. We've traded the metaphysical and all the meaning of what spirituality has meant to us, to our very soul, and what it's meant intuitively. The intuitive uplifting has been traded, and we think it's grounding, but it's just being grounded, and not the kind of grounded like earth healing. We're talking ball and chain. We are talking people whose art, science, their business, and their news is just based very much in the sensory and what can be done with the magical keywords combinations to manifest only, your bank account, the perks of that lifestyle, sponsorship. There's that big, we've already talked about that too. There's that big word, sponsorship, corporate sponsorship. So that's a big one. But we are so often now, our motives are to hit the right trending combinations to gain the successful pole positions to where we get that corporate pat on the head, corporate sponsorship. And that's that shit that I don't like, that needs to end in ASAP in order to bring back the soul, bring back the spirit of the ascending man and the ascending mankind, the ascending woman, of course, obviously, when I say man. So you really can't be talking about what's going on here now unless you're talking interdimensionally, because you can't possibly really know, with the fact that we are so jam-packed per square inch. Per square inch is irrelevant to those interdimensional forces, which are masters of space and time and it all. A square inch might as well be 300 billion light years of space to fit more life inside of. And yet the sensory world, we call it a square inch. That may be overwhelming to some. That may send kind of either shivers up the spine or give kind of a effect of just all that. But life is that densely packed. And you cannot know how we got here, where we are going next, unless you look at things interdimensionally. So when I pull up the zodiac, people will see that and they'll be like, thinking that's the most quack job, non-artistic, well, maybe artistic, non-scientific thing of all. Not much legitimacy other than what you know about it. The trends of the SEO of where do you stack in your pole positions with your astrology. Therefore, now I look at your astrology. Therefore, now I think you're relevant. You'll see here at my YouTube, I don't have tons of page views because what's relevant to me is not the same as what's relevant to those who are stuck seeing that 3 square inches instead of that, what might as well be 300 billion light years of space. What all life is going on, that densely packed. So those people are more focused on 300,000 likes and subscriptions, which I can't blame you at this point. It is not to make fun of you or demean you or try to establish my superiority. I can use the fact that I'm here and they're there to establish what is different about my soul motives, my own thought processes and feelings as I wake up, and what makes me move every day. Um, what's going on right now clearly is horrible. Is I've called everything happening just from astrology in my artwork with all the sacred geometry, and the, you might say stargates, opening sustained bridge work through to, you might say, access through pools of light, as it were, a universal cosmic being, accessing through what is 3 inches to one person, 3 inches of data might to me, as I expand and contract and figure out how to align things the way I can align things to access certain things, have certain ranges beyond the century to where it's 300,000 light years of information that I'm downloading all at once, compared to 3 inches of the sensory and what we're being told on the news. Now I bring up everything I can do: zodiac artwork, the music, and everything is frequency. Music, of course, frequency uses your whole brain to write, compose. So I access the whole brain, and then I go to my sacred geometry. Now the reason I mention that is, one thing I want to say is all this is horrible. What I've said before was not to belittle it and make a joke of it in the last upload, but what I said that I really wanted to sort of hint at, point at, is just the fact that right now you might not like to admit it. Who would want to like to admit it? But we so often say one world, one world consciousness, and I'm not saying it in the globalist economic sense. I'm saying it in the more spiritual, refined sense, you might say. The reality is, Putin is holding up a mirror. Yeah, you kind of like want to let that sort of sink in. And it is a sharp blade, but Putin is just holding up a mirror to all of us. Putin knows that right now, that what he's doing is really holding up a mirror. And as much as he seems to become more and more of a pariah, we all have to look at how we have now come to the point of having those majorly catastrophic, globally engineered Stockholm syndrome ever in the history of a lot of different species, basically in the galaxy as far as I'm concerned, definitely our own Earth history. So that is just something to look at and keep in mind all the time right now. Do you think maybe if we, all of us, our example in the West, as much as the West is, America is the youngest nation, and more than a nation, more like a corporate affair, we are in a huge global pole position, even as the youngest country, when it comes to clout and, if you want to say, trends, or our example, sometimes for some reason, being followed and thought of as a leader, trendsetters. So, but I don't say the things that I'm saying in order to brag. Again, one reason I'm saying this is, with everything that I've called and talked about with people, my own family, my love of my life, Jessica, one thing I've talked about is even the fact that Russia was going to invade from the north. There's stuff I didn't know, such as how close to Chernobyl, or what part Chernobyl would play, or any nuclear plant would play. I knew that the invasion would be happening before it happened. I knew when we got out of Afghanistan that something was up, that we needed to get out of there so fast and get our troops back, because intelligence, something was going on with intelligence to where we needed to get out of there fast for a completely different crisis that was upcoming. So, but one reason I say this too, that's important to look at, is how I had just sitting there not thinking thoughts about the war or any conflict or anything like that, just sitting there essentially meditating in a meditative state. I'm sitting there and I have a crystal clear, almost like on a video screen, not invoking the thoughts or not just delving through areas of my own subconscious. Just all of a sudden clear, crystal clear, like on a TV screen. Seeing a nuclear mushroom cloud. And I know about myself generally when I do have something come through that crystal clear out of nowhere, when it's not part of the narrative of my own internal dialogue, my own thoughts throughout the day, I know it should be taken seriously. That I'm picking something up in the ethers, in the atmosphere. The hieroglyphic, you might say electrically charged atmosphere. So the fact that was there, it also means something to me in particular too, just because, like I shared in the last video, I really thought that if anything, it would be an EMP. I thought if anything were to touch down here, and I don't know if that nuclear mushroom cloud that I did see is going to touch down here. I don't even know if it's going to be one. I don't know if it's going to be a series of. I don't know if that will be in Russia, Ukraine, Poland, or here, or even have something that comes up to do in North Korea. I don't know that yet. I just know what I did see in that meditative state was an epic mushroom cloud, basically from above. Seeing not directly above, but kind of diagonal. I can even tell you crystal clear how I saw it was from an angle, diagonal, off to the side, and just looking down on it. So, that's just, the fact that that happened is something to think about. It's something that I take seriously. Because I give you all this stuff, I show you all this stuff here at my channel, and in my podcast, which sometimes is very vulnerable, and doesn't make me look like the hippest, trendiest, worthy of 10,000 views to my YouTube a day. Yeah, I still share it because it's what's going on in a world that, like I said, it's a saturated market. Me and Jessica talk about that a lot, the saturated market thing. Right now we tend to talk about with the crystal business and the healing industry, but it's also, yeah, that's just the thing, is it is with the healing industry. It's with people who want to pose themselves to be any sort of healer, medicine man, prophet, soothsayer of any sort, astrologer, card flipper, anything. Just people are there to look like that's what they're good at and that's what they do, and get those trending words to where they come up number one in the ranking pages. But so, one other thing too, in particular with that, is just, it's not just the healing industry, and it's got to do with the soul of the healer and the healer's position, which means the artist's position here in our communities is very much, it's been deflated, it's been backed into a corner, made vulnerable, and made into a thing that essentially looks pat on the head. Oh, okay, you're so special too. We're all special. Put your macaroni art up on the refrigerator. You know, and the spirit of those medicine men and women, and who would be thought of as the quote unquote crazier people, are now just the okay, okay. You know, and I've always hated that, and I've gotten that a lot. Like the whole, I've got my shit together, okay. Everyone look how put together I am. I'm ranking number one on all the search engines. You know, it's stupid. It's a betrayal of everything that is art, real art. And it's what is real art? Real art is who is, trending now. And it's just, that's part of what's gotten us where we've gotten, not just in this grounded, mundane world, but I'm talking about the overall spiritual arc of what's going on here now. And the parabola, you might say, of all the path works from interdimensional, we're talking areas of origins that others don't begin to think about. And if you could even begin to describe those areas of origins, people are either they're going to laugh at you, tell you you're stupid and crazy, or they're going to be like, well, that's so far ahead. You're just far ahead of your time. Pat you on the head again. You're just far ahead of your time. You know, um, wait till all the fossil fuels are used up. Wait till every tree is chopped down. Then we're gonna need your style of crazy medicine man around here, hooting and hollering and holding up signs in Times Square. You know what I mean? I think you get it by now. So, but I mean, how you get there, even the origins thing, interdimensional origins things of stuff that's going on. How do you even get there? What you can't see. Now, how can you even get there at all? What you can't see. How do you start elevating to where you see it and access it again and feel it beyond what we think is the feeling, what we think is the actual world in actual reality that is not even. We call it actual just because, you know, see, taste, touch, smell, all that stuff. 9 to 5. Now, how will you access it? How will you access the how we got here? How are we going to get where we are going? In the interdimensional common sense, when we are in a stage right now, we are so docile and compliant with what the oligarchy and the elites have rat trapped us into for their sake, when right now they're saying stuff like Ukraine, Russia, etc., the pandemic, etc. They're saying we can go through so much more of humanity till we are down to a fraction of a fraction of a fraction. And it's going to be better for us. We'll still get our faces fanned with palm fronds day by day. We will still get everything we need in terms of driving around Lamborghinis that are totally serviced, or our Tesla. Like all the rich people are saying, all the rest of us just need to go out and buy a Tesla tomorrow and problem solved, you know? So, like, not to steal that, that's like Jeremy from The Quartering is saying, because I don't want to come across like that's my own idea. You know, I've seen a couple other channels that maybe even got it from Jeremy in The Quartering, because right now his channel is so huge. I'm subscribed. I really like it. So I like his stuff. I like the way he delivers his stuff. He seems like a authentic, fairly grounded, humble guy, even though probably he himself doesn't think of himself as any sort of an interdimensionally activated person. Just from sheer humility and heart, he accesses, I think, a lot of what people don't have access to just from that place. So if you may not be buzzing up here from, you know, amethyst and a clear diet, perfect diet of whole foods, and some kind of a spiritual exercise to where you're meditating 3 hours a day. You don't need all that stuff. What you need first and foremost is a bit of humility in an authentic place. Are you coming from an authentic place? And when you're trying to rank and you're trying to hit to you a magical combination that gets you into a greater world becomes hitting the right search keywords every day. And don't get me wrong, I love SEO. I'm currently following SEO channels and learning about SEO for the first time, and it's a really beautiful, interesting art and science. So it's not against that, but it's more against the type of mentalities that made us where the end-all, be-all, just like Machiavellian, is what's trending, is all I'm saying. So, well, I didn't want this to be a huge, long episode. I was hoping to do maybe 3 edits and then get this out there. So, I just wanted to say that's it for now till my next upload. And hopefully my next thing is going to be uploading really beautiful galaxy art, some more galactic art, showing some of the layers and even processes that are involved with that. I am looking at launching a course even. I would like to launch a course and show some of this stuff and how I got there. Again, how did we get here? Where are we going next? I would love to upload some of my stuff and just show how and why and where and when I do what I do without basically blowing myself away. And that's another next video I'm going to talk about, actually, is the interdimensional origins, how to access greater nodes outside linear space and time. At the same time, not getting too woo to where you believe everything, and at the same time, not getting too ignorant to where you just got a handful of crystals to where all day just this handful of crystals are on you, or something like that. You're accessing high vibes, and you don't know exactly how or why, etc. about that, but it's just always on you, and at the same time, You're not clearing the crystals. You're not sure why you have the crystals on you, other than they say it's high vibes, it's good for you throughout the day. You can blow yourself away with that too. Just like there's been times I've basically put myself into a place of being so scattered in my art, I had to spiritually, mentally, emotionally defragment from things I've done with my art and the crystals combined even, or my music, to where I'm defragging sort of and reorganizing myself for about 2 weeks to a month sometimes. And then there was what I went through with the Masons that was, or a quasi-Masonic Black Lodge cult group. I want to be very careful about specifics because I am not trying to start a one-man battle psychic warfare with the Masons. I've kind of already been in something like that as I've gone over here so far. And we're talking hours and hours and hours of podcasts to help people with resources for how to survive that and the interdimensional origins of that, and establishing nice boundaries to where the interdimensional origins of things outside of linear time are beyond you, yet you can still defend yourself as, speaking of a word, that particular word, a sovereign individual person, a sovereign soul, a sovereign example of sentient and cohesive life beyond just existence, the original cosmic being that people often attach the whole "why are we here" to. So that's that. And I wanted to say, just talking to Jessica asked me that about the crystals. Do the crystals work when you're not actively thinking about them? If the crystals only work when you're actively thinking about them, is that even scarier? And does that mean it's a placebo? Or does that mean we're just projecting some sort of witchcraft or a spell enchantment into them? And is it scarier that they work when you're not thinking about them because there's already some kind of an enchantment in them, or possible demonic attachment, or just parasitic interdimensional attachment, archon, whatever you want to say, hostile alien, or just alien that isn't hostile but still needs to feed? All these questions and more will be addressed the next time. So thank you for tapping in, tuning in, listening. Hopefully you have tapped something for yourself and have gotten some inspiration. And I want to wrap this up. Stay free, stay liberated, but don't fall into the traps of any far side, of any point of view, whether it's liberal or... We've all got to deal with our own extremism that's just cutting us off from the whole grand picture of all those origins, points in the sky that are embodied within us, that we need free-flowing chi access to be able to feel and communicate with, and better communicate with each other, and all that good stuff. So thanks for checking this out. And one more reminder before I hit stop on this, and that is that not only am I launching courses, a lot of my digital files are available on my Etsy now. Right now I have one file, and it's not a file, it's a metal painting. We are talking top high quality printing process with a more expensive printing specializing warehouse that I can even talk about here a little bit. But in the meantime, I'm going to be getting my digital files up to my Etsy, which is worth taking a look at if you don't want to spend hundreds on an extremely rare limited edition metal print of my space and interdimensional art, my high vibrational art. If you just want maybe a computer background, you can look at. Sometimes I'm going to be bundling those up and having those on my Etsy for way less money than buying a metal print. So thank you again. I really appreciate the view and the help with the algorithm, and I'll keep going with this. I don't upload as much as I want to, I admit it. So if you do hit like, maybe watch the next video. Hey, it's your day. It's your time here. Do what you feel. I'm not trying to stop you and take up and convince you of something. I would like to bring more content. I think I do pretty good content. So yeah, if you, as they say, smash that like button, maybe even subscribe. I have 2 more new subscribers fairly recently from just the last couple uploads. But I would like maybe a handful more. I might even maybe monetize this channel. I have to cut back on swear words if I do that, and I like to let it fly, to be honest, if I'm feeling it. So thanks for tuning in. I'm going to drink more matcha tea. I don't know if you can tell. I've been drinking coffee or matcha tea or something, but yeah, it's green matcha tea, and the stuff is a new favorite when I run out of coffee. I'm a coffee drinker just all day, so to get anything done almost. But okay, thank you again. Stay free, be safe, watch out for your family, do what is most important, take care of what's most important, and invest yourself completely in what's most important, and watch everything come back around returns. So thanks again. Take care.